Hello, welcome to the daily political tarot readings here on the Black and Orange channel. Thank you so much for being here. I am here 365 days of the year to take your political questions out of the chat, and I read on them as best I can, just reading on the collective energy. It's not 100% accurate. That's not how this works, but it's interesting it's interesting the insights we can get, and also I try to give you guys all the credit for all your great comments and funny things you say and insight that you have. So we go through the news together and try to keep the energy as positive as we can when we're reading on, oh goodness, or do we read on some scumbags? For verily thou art a bag of scum. Yeah. All right, so today's, I'm going to do the regular readings, but keeping an eye out because there's going to be a hearing. Right now it is 12:13 here in Chicago, so in about 45 minutes there's supposed to be a hearing with the special master. And for anybody who read the writing on the cover before I came on, basically it's hard to tell who's CBS News is going to be covering it live, but it's not going to be broadcast. But at the same time, then here, let me share this. Then Some Bright Spark published this. What is that, you say? That is the telephone number. This is not just something I know. Trust me, they're talking about this on. They're talking about this all over the internet, and yeah, that's the remote access dial-in number and the access code. Yeah, that was not a good idea to just publicly go, hey. So I'm sure they're taking care of that. Oh, Ricky, I'm sorry. I'm distracted because Ricky has the cutest thing. And the star of the show, soon to have his likeness made into a Hallmark keepsake ornament. It's Booze and Kitty. Okay, we got to look at the kitty because we're gonna be here looking at some garbage today. So, there's a precious. There's a precious. He's a good boy. Oh, you are so good. You are so good. Yes, you are. You are so good. Oh, John. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Precious. No. Now move your hands, he says. All right, I'll put this back up here. No. All right, so I do have lots of questions from you, so I'll start working my way through those as we wait and try to figure out what's going on. And thank you, Sarah. Sarah's here today in the chat, and she's going to help me. And Miss Sarah, if you find out about anybody going live with any of this stuff, please let me know. I may very well. Oh goodness, no, that wasn't a dox. Oh no. Okay. Who was saying it was a dox? No. Okay, I don't see it here, but no, that wasn't a dox. It's on the website. It's no. I heard about that from Midas Touch. No, that is public, and it's like a bad idea. So they've changed. If they haven't changed it, they've changed it. That was one of those really kind of moments. You can't do that. It spread all over the internet. Yeah, trust me. I don't want the bad karma of trying to screw things up. And I just want to take just one moment here just to say, every time I've come on here for over 4 years, I think I've made it as clear as I can. I do not want anything to happen to any of these people. I don't want them sick. I don't want them on the other side of the veil. I don't want to mess up their court cases. I don't want to mess up anything for them because I want them in court. I want them going through the fair judicial process, and I want them to be held accountable. So I'm not someone who would screw with this. I am vehemently against swatting, sending a SWAT team to anybody's house. Exactly, Sally L. Just justice. That's it. So, no. Marie Henson, write down that phone number. I am sure they have changed it. It was all over. Yes, Isabel, I want them to face the consequences of their actions. Exactly. Am I muted? Sarah just said put mute in the... Oh, sorry. That number just allows the public to listen in. The judge can mute the phone on his end with the push of a button if needed. Really? So isn't anybody going to listen live? Why aren't they going to broadcast it? I am so confused. All right. You can hear me. Good. Thank you. Okay. All right. What a day. All right. Let me just refresh the page here that has questions on it while we try to figure out what's going on. And again, thank you, Sarah. I do not know what I would do without you. Well, I know. Things just wouldn't work anywhere near as well. Okay. No. Okay. I'm trying so hard to just sort this out. Okay. Quit. Be nice. All right. Mercury Retrograde is stomping on my head today, apparently. So it's like, all right, that's how it's going to be. That's how it's going to be, Mercury. All right. I'll roll with it. You can't keep me down. All right. Thank you, Taylor. Kelly says, Lord, me too. Confusion says. Confusion? Sarah says there are numbers for every hearing at that courthouse. Ooh, wow. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Anne. Isabel. Tasha. Okay. Yeah, Velray, we want justice, rule of law, exactly. Dr. Nancy says, Cannon disallowed anyone. Well, that's because she's awful. Yeah. Marie Henson says, last year I listened to a Supreme Court hearing. It was worth it. I did too. We probably listened to the same one. It was good. Okay. So, they're running a commercial over on MSNBC. I'm actually going to make this. I'm going to see if I can make this small. In the hope no. Dun, 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 dun. All right. I think I've got it sorted-ish. All right. And I can see that I've got my questions here. I can see MSNBC, Hurricane Fiona. Bless everyone who is suffering under Hurricane Fiona. Bless you all. May you be safe. May everything be restored quickly. May you be energized. May you be filled with health. May compassion fill everyone around. Bless. Okay. Sarah says news outlets will cover it, but it will only be live via call-in. Okay. Well, we'll see what goes on with MSNBC. Like I said, I may demonetize this just so we can watch it together. So we'll just see. All right. So let's just start. Thank you, Fran. Thank you. Marie Henson. U.S. politics for 500, please. Exactly. All right. We're at 10 minutes in. Yeah. 10 minutes, 15 seconds. We're going to start with number 1. Judge Raymond Dearie, special master at Trump's Mar-A-Lago case, announced that the hearings over the top secret, the documents overall, will happen today and will be open to the public. Before we get the popcorn ready, how badly has Trump messed himself over with this? Because there wouldn't be a special master at all if he had not had his lawyers ask for one. Oh, exactly, Dave. Biden won't be as contemptuous and to throw paper towels at them. Like you've got a t-shirt air gun. Please. Special master. How is this mess going to go for Trump? Yeah, you done messed up. They think, oh well, he helped with Carter Page or something, so he'll be great. Oh nay. No, he's not corrupt. He's not. Susan says MSNBC said the hearing is in about 30 minutes. Thank you. Hermit. Could be the special master. Could be Trump's. Feels a little bit like the special master. Like he's not going to listen to any of. He has questions. He wants things clarified. He's going to lay out at the hearing today. He's going to lay out a timetable, and from what I've heard, although Judge Luce Cannon she said that she's setting a deadline for the special master to get done going through the documents. I believe there are 11,000 documents. To be done going through them by like November 30th, which is well after the midterms. But it sounds like it's not going to take him that long. So we'll see. All right, MSNBC says to me about a special master. I can just see it in the corner. I'm not listening. King of Pentacles. 8 of Cups. 10 of Swords. Ouch. 5 of Swords. 6 of Cups. Trump thinks he can buy his way out of anything, and everything's his. Very materialistic. Mine. This is evidence. And this is things going really badly for Trump's side. This is 10 metaphorical swords, legal swords in his metaphorical back. This is insult to injury. So he's going to be get the Tums out, Trumpy. And then this is evidence laid out, perfectly organized, in a perfectly organized way. Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to like this. But again, this still feels like it's a blip. It's a speed bump in the bigger process. Plus the fact that this is separate from an appeals court. Now, Judge Luce Cannon said, agreed with Trump's side that there should be a special master. And she appointed Judge Raymond Dearie after there was agreement. The DOJ said, yeah, he'd be all right for the special master. But at the same time, the DOJ is going to an appeals court, which is separate, and saying, this is ridiculous. Why is there a special master? This is classified material. It's not his. So if they give a sudden ruling today, it may take the whole idea of the special master and go, don't need one. Ricky says, I love those cards. It spells disaster for temper tantrum Trump. Yeah. Terrence says, hey, 45, to quote Mick Jagger, you can't always get what you want. But he could get what we need. Yeah. Whew, boy. So Heather, I agree. The judge has so much respect from all sides. He will be diligent, I think. I think that means fast and fair. I agree. I honestly, I agree. So, just I'm going to throw 3 more cards just on at 15:30. I want to throw just 3 more cards on the DOJ appeals court. The DOJ going to the appeals court over this. Because one of the things that Trump's lawyers want is to see all the classified material. Well, his main lawyer, who he paid $3 million to, is a registered agent of Venezuela. Really? Semper says, I'm going to call the hearing in 30 minutes. I'll let you know if anything spicy or interesting happens. I'm hoping that it'll be broadcast on the news somewhere where we can watch it together. So that's why I said I'm probably going to demonetize this. So we'll see. Okay. Well, it's a card of disappointment. Let's see what that means. Let's see what we've got. 4 of Wands, 5 of Wands, King of Pentacles. I expected, honestly, although I know there's been a lot of, from what I understand, very reasonable criticism against Judge Luce Cannon about this nonsense, I just assumed that they'd be like, it's already going, blah, blah, blah. This doesn't feel like that. This feels like presidents are not kings and plaintiff is not president. I mean, this feels like you took them where? You did what with them? All of this is classified material with our national security at risk. And you want a registered foreign agent for Venezuela to have access to all this classified material too? Get out of town. Yes, dear. Do you need a blanket? Is that what's going on here? Do you need a blanket? He's like, no, I don't need a blanket. I need treats. I was gonna put here. I was gonna bring treats in here. I'm gonna grab a treat stick. Hang on. No. Okay. Yeah, this does not look good for him. Dr. Nancy says, I can't believe a foreign agent is being allowed. I know, right? Unbelievable. Mel Broussard says, I need treats and a blankie too. Well, if you were here, I'd be happy to give them to you, and I'd give you real treats, not cat treats. Marie Henson, please post that number in the chat. If anybody would like to, I don't know if they're still going to use that one, but if they are. I do not have an Amazon wish list for the kitties, but I could make one. I'd be grateful for that help. Here you go, sweetie. There you go. Hey. Ha-ha. There you go. Oh, he's sweetie. Here. Here. Right next to your nose, dear. Literally next to your nose. There. Okay. Sorry about that. Who was it who just said I should have all of this ready? Well, sometimes he actually sleeps. Anyway, all right. Thank you, Isabel. I will look into that. Thank you. All right. So, well, let's just move on to the second question at 20 minutes in. . Yaha. Yes. 20 minutes in. Okay. Whoops. So this next question is, Trump couldn't resist making the Queen's funeral about him and made several digs about how if he was still president, he'd have had a better seat at her funeral. A better seat at someone's funeral. Because, of course, it's all about you. Oh, thank you, Shay Laughter. Yes, Mel, who was in kitty therapy. So the question here is, if he got back into office, is there any first world country who would still receive him as a guest? Oh, man, that's just... Oh, by the way, the people saying that Trump said that he was knighted in secret, that's not actually true. I went looking, and that has been debunked. He didn't actually say that, but it's so believable that he might. There. Ricky's saying, sorry, Trump, you can't sit on the throne. Oh, Kathy Delilah saying, my son's cat was named Shenanigans. Oh, what do you call these? All right. So oops, sorry. Hey. Over here. There you go. Aha. Space again. Karen Conroy saying, wait, 45 lied? I'm shocked. Soon, special master conference with the DOJ and the Trump team. Okay. Oh, the Emperor. The Emperor. 10 of Pentacles. Oh, yes, his importance, his dynasty. Him being frozen out. But sitting pretty. It doesn't matter. I'm forever, I'll be Mr. President. 11 states file amicus brief accusing Biden administration of ransacking home of political rival. Oh, good Lord. Oh, boy. All right. Here. There. That's the last one. All right. They're starting to talk about some of this stuff. So let's have a listen. Share screen. Tab. Okay. Hang on. It's probably not, you probably can't hear it yet. Hang on. Give me just a second.
Back and wait, and they should not get what they're asking the appellate court for. They should sit back and wait until the special master has done their job. They've made it clear that a judge in Florida, one appointed by the former president, West Palm Beach, has made a determination that a special master is the best way to go, that it provides the appropriate oversight, they say. And so as a result, it's real simple. Let's just wait till that process is done. That's their argument. Federal prosecutors say, look, between us and the FBI, we need to get moving here. We might have a national defense or a national security issue that we need to look into. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence wants to conduct a study and a review on these documents that were found at the property, some of which we're looking at presumably on screen, Peter. And also, we still need to conduct a federal investigation. So let's put this special master issue aside and let's get to work. We don't know when the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals is going to make a decision on this, whether or not they're going to have some sort of oral argument or whether they're going to issue some sort of paper opinion or ruling on this. So that's just something that we're going to have to follow. The other filing is the one that you talked about. That's before the special master essentially saying, hey, we don't want to disclose whether or not we declassified or the former president declassified on his way out of the White House certain documents. We might want to preserve that if we challenge the search warrant in and of itself. We might want to preserve that for a defense if there's any indictment in this investigation. So those are the thrust of the two main arguments they're making in totally separate courts today, but of course, all over the same issue.
Yeah, no doubt. We're glad to have you to help explain it to us. Charles, let me ask you about the latter that Tom was talking about here, what's happening before that special master, and this argument that's being made on behalf of Mr. Trump's lawyers, basically, that they don't want to have to make any argument. They don't even want to wade into the conversation about what is or is not declassified. To be clear, there's no evidence that any of those documents were declassified to this point, but it does appear clear, even though Raymond Dearie, this special master, was one of those individuals suggested as a potential special master by Mr. Trump's own attorneys, that he has sort of put them on their heels a bit here.
Well, I do expect that we're going to see a very different tone out of Judge Dearie than we've seen thus far, particularly out of Florida. And I think one of the reasons for that is when you've looked at it objectively from a 30,000-foot view, stepping away from it, you realize that a lot of what has happened thus far has been around delay and sort of these obscure tactics in terms of trying to get this distraction off track in terms of dealing with the actual issue. And I don't think that Judge Dearie is going to go for that. I think part of what we can expect to see today is a very different tone. I think that he's going to be very clear about really outlining the issues from both parties, making clear what he believes is not an issue, what he agrees is an issue, and then what he will allow both parties to argue even further and brief as to what the issues are. Of course, as Tom sort of intimated, the strategy for Team Trump is basically going to be make the issues as wide as possible, make this process go as long as possible, try to drag it out without being committal so that they preserve as many options moving forward as they might. Whereas the DOJ is going to seek to make it as narrow as possible to eliminate any issues in question, or as many as they can, to make it so that the judge does not have very much that he has to decide. Keep in mind, in addition to the concerns about national security, in addition to concerns about delaying the actual investigation, there's also the issue that the FBI has actually already gone through these documents. And so from the integrity standpoint of what is needed to make this investigation move forward, the DOJ already knows what's there. So they also have to sort of navigate that with a very thin needle in terms of how they tread with respect to this judge.
Charles, let me ask you, the New York Times reports that the former president was warned that holding on to classified material when he left office could put him in legal jeopardy. The Times writes that former Trump lawyer Eric Hirschman sought to impress upon Mr. Trump the seriousness of the issue and the potential for investigations and legal exposure if he did not return the documents, particularly any classified material. So how does that affect a potential criminal case against the former president? Obviously, you can't say that you didn't know if there's now evidence that you were told just that.
Well, I think it speaks directly to the question of intent, because you've been informed about the criminality of your actions, and yet you continued in those actions even after you had knowledge. I also think that one of the things that it does is that it really casts a strong amount of doubt on this notion of declassification, because if in fact you are claiming that you declassified certain documents at the point that you have been told that these documents need to be returned, or at the point that you have been told that you are potentially in violation of the law for holding on to these documents, that for most people would have been the ideal time to step forward and say, we have actually declassified documents. Here is a list of the documents we've declassified, and therefore we are not in violation of the law. That did not happen. And so when you look at the timeline, it certainly does not suggest or support what Team Trump is trying to argue now in totality, looking at how everything played out.
Tom, help us here with some other news that we just learned about over the last couple of hours, that the Republican attorneys general, and I think it's 11 states, West Virginia, Kentucky, I think Mississippi, among them, have filed this amicus brief accusing the Biden administration of ransacking the home of a political rival. They say it was an effort to trade on the reputation of the Department of Justice, to thwart the appointment of a neutral special master. Can you walk us through the significance of that? What, if any, impact that potentially has?
Well, legally, and I think from an impact perspective, it probably has very little. I mean, the court is going to decide this case on the merits, what the Department of Justice attorneys have presented to the court, what Trump's own attorneys have presented to them, look at the decision that was made in the Southern District of Florida, apply any sort of case law or precedent to that, or create new precedent if they think that some should exist here. Though I think it's probably a little bit more straightforward than that. The amicus curiae or friend of the court filings, Peter, serve as a way for interested parties to put something on the record, in sometimes in hopes of swaying the judiciary's opinion. But I'm still waiting for the first time in a political sense where I see that come to fruition. Sometimes amicus curiae that are filed by potential victims, filed by the press, filed by others, have sometimes an impact on the judiciary's decision. I just don't know here if that's going to be the case. And so, just in reading that filing and seeing how these cases have gone in the past, I don't see the impact of it being particularly high. I would say that if a group of Democratic attorney generals also wrote to the court, I just don't see this making much of a difference as far as this instant ruling.
Tom, at the end of the day, it's a lot of back and forth for a lot of people trying to pay attention. When does this thing resolve itself? What sort of time frame are we playing with here?
Just before coming on with you, Peter, I look back at the most recent search warrant affidavit that we have that was unsealed and unredacted. So the most unredacted version of this still has approximately 54% that is redacted if you look at the paragraphs that are redacted in full or in part. That's a long way of saying we don't still know a lot about this investigation. I don't anticipate anything happening until the end of the midterms, certainly till the special master wraps up, if that's the path that ends up being taken here. So bare minimum, I don't expect any sort of decisions to be made until at least the end of November.
Yeah, Democrats like folks talking about Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump likes talking about Mr. Trump, but Republicans haven't really enjoyed this conversation. It's obviously taken the tension away from other issues they want to focus on. Tom Winter and Charles Coleman, we appreciate both of you and your expertise. Just a few hours from now, the president, as we've noted, is going to head to New York. He's going to be addressing the United Nations General Assembly there tomorrow. So what do we expect?
Okay, I'll take that down for the moment. Make this a little bit smaller. All right, so Marie Henson. So anybody, I did put an image up on the community page that explains what I'm doing today, what's going on, if that helps any. If you just click on where it says black and orange underneath, and you just click on the community tab, image, wearing the same clothes. You'll see. I made a graphic. I was quite pleased with it, actually. And that one is even just a little bit better than the cover I had on earlier. So, all right, how people are viewing Trump in the world. There's a lot of talk about him. He's a constant source of news. He's always got something going on where he's running his mouth or just being awful. Kelly says, hence why President Biden has been strictly hands-off. Let the games begin. Yes. All right. 10 of Swords. 7 of Swords. 9 of Pentacles, Lovers. They see what's happening. They think he's a thief. They think he's still swanning around. They think they think too many of his followers are dangerous, and they don't want anything. And he's gonna in any way, shape, or form, if they tried to reach out to him or deal with him, he's just so awful. Nobody. On the whole, on the grand scheme of things, almost nobody likes you. And I don't like saying that. Oh, no, thank you, Sempress. I didn't want to put I didn't want to call in. That is beyond my technical abilities to share that with you. I'm hoping they will share it on the news. So, man. But thank you. Okay. Oh, did something break on CNN? Oh, do share, please. So, hello, Pamela. All right, so. Okay, so for now, let's move on at 35 minutes in. DeSantis grossly misplanned the moving of the Venezuelan migrants. First, he had them routed through San Antonio. Then he had the pilots tamper with the flight logs, able to get clearance to land at Martha's Vineyard, while the latter definitely counts as trafficking and is being investigated by the FAA. The Sheriff's Department over San Antonio is opening a criminal human trafficking investigation since part of it took place on its soil. Oh, I've been looking at this. Sarah is saying nothing regarding Trump. Trump broke. It's another story. Thank you. Semper says, holy crap, that's a huge federal offense. Yes. Mel Broussard is saying that Bexar County Sheriff is a Democrat. So this is the sheriff you're talking about? So is DeSantis going to face, is he going to face it, and is he going to be convicted of trafficking charges? There's a big roadblock in his way somewhere down the road here. He's just so awful. He's just DeSantis. He's embraced the far right. Yeah. Doxy Mom says Bexar is pronounced bear. Okay. Silent X. Okay. Four of Cups, Page of Cups, Three of Cups, Emperor, Three of Swords. This is his refusal. This is these poor people being shipped around without medication, without what they need. This is them being welcomed in different parts of the country. This is DeSantis, and this is legal swords through his metaphorical heart. He thinks he's all that, and this is very much going. The cards, the energy, everything, entertainment only. But what they're saying is that this is going to blow up in his face. So, legal, like arrest DeSantis for trafficking, blah, blah, blah. Jean says, I remember a long time ago, many readers, also you, talked about DeSantis having legal trouble in the future. Yeah. Marie Henson says it was $12,000 per person times 50. With money he may not have been authorized to use, or probably wasn't. Five of Cups. Yeah, his plan isn't working that well. But I don't care about his plan. I care about these people, but I care about, is he going to be held accountable? This feels like an investigation. Who was involved? They're going to want all the emails, all the messages, all of the records. Apparently, is it in this instance, or is it one of the other instances that the flight company has been shut down, offices empty? This is carefully going through the whole thing. Who said what? Who demanded what? Semper says his birth chart also indicates his public life will fizzle out soon. Ooh, what's going on in his chart, Semper's? Is his Saturn going beneath the ascendant, or is this Pluto come and stomp on his head or something? Rehenson says $615,000 paid to them. I don't understand the paid to them part. Sarah says the website and phones of the small airline were down this morning. Mm-hmm. Queen of Wands. Yeah, they're asking all the questions. And he doesn't. Yeah, it's the plan. This is an investigation, and it's steady, and it's by the book, and it's step by step. Yeah, it does not feel good for DeSantis, but there will be a very steady airplane company. I'm sorry, Murray Henson. I meant airline, but I'm juggling a lot right now. Yes, I was married to a commercial pilot for 20 years, and yes, I did work at flight school and at the front desk at a flight school and the front desk at an FBO. So yes, I should know all the terms, but I don't know. Thank you. Sarah says no TD. What is that? Oh, did I miss the hearing? No. Okay. So. Last look. Queen of Pentacles. Ace of Wands. Two of Pentacles. His actions. His downfall. That's what that is. That's what that says. We'll see. But that's what the energy's saying. That's what the cards are saying. So. On Kristen from Uncover the News. Hey, Kristen. Happening now. I've dialed into Judge Dearie's courtroom, and apparently the system has left every single caller unmuted. Sounds roughly like Midtown at rush hour, but with the added benefit of dozens of people screaming at each other to shut up. Oh my gosh. Kristen says someone is now piping elevator music into the call after another caller sang America the Beautiful. Another man hypnotically reciting Trump is a criminal. Since I dialed in, a woman has been shrieking, mute your phones constantly every 10 to 15 seconds. Nancy, I can't do that at the moment. I could definitely do it tomorrow. I've already got like multiple things open in my on my computer. That's right, Autumn, putting lipstick at rush hour at 50 miles an hour. Sarah says they'll mute people when it starts. Let's hope. Goodness gracious, what a mess. So it's 5-1. So let's see here. Is there anything else I could look at while we're waiting here? There's a question. I mean, you've got a question about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't quite understand it. Marjorie Taylor Greene called on Stacey Abrams, a candidate for governor, to get the hell out of Georgia if she doesn't like the poor living conditions. Please tell me that will work against her at some point. Kristen says, update. The situation has improved from the satanic screaming orgy to ear-splitting metallic scraping. Looks like we're almost ready to begin the hearing. Oh, wow. Nuclear Magenta, can you explain your technique for reading the 5-card spreads? Do you invent this layout? I'm sure I didn't invent it. I just started using it because I needed something to show I wanted something to be able to show the cards. And so rather than doing other layouts, considering I tend to just use more and more cards when I start laying down cards, I just tend to just keep using more and more of them. So, I'll explain. Well, let's look at 45:15. Well, we'll look at Marjorie Trader Greene. She's so awful. Calling on Stacey Abrams to get the hell out of Georgia. She doesn't like the poor living conditions. What? All right. All right, so I open myself up to my guides, and then I send my kind of an energy feeler out to Marjorie Trader Greene's energy, not too close, but like just gently. And then I'm just kind of feeling her energy to see, is she getting a lot of love in? Is she getting a lot of approval in? Is she getting and what I'm getting is she wants to fight. I'm getting a mental image of her as a wild animal growling with fangs. Marie Henson. Skirt it lightly. Yeah. She wants to fight. She wants. Yeah. That's what I'm getting. All right. Hang on a second here. Let me see. Are we going? All right. They're going to commercial. Trader Greene. You're so awful. She is afraid of. Oh wow, the delusion is strong with this one. This is the far right victory. Is the card of the far right victory, but she's. It's almost like somebody. I'm sure many of you have dealt with a child who gets upset about something, but then just works themselves up into a state. And you're just like, whoa. Like completely out of proportion to what's actually happening. That's what this feels like. Mimi is asking MTG, growling animal, jackal or hyena. Actually, I was getting werewolf. But yes, Precious. You want to come sit in my lap? She's worked herself into. We are going. If I try to say, okay, does she think she's going to lose? We're going to lose the country. Everything's going to be destroyed. They're going to be like, it's going to look like a post-apocalyptic scene where they're like burned out cars in the streets everywhere, and I mean just this extreme days. Desrat's asking, is she on donut powder? I don't get that. She might be on something else. I don't know. But hi. I pulled 3 cards on Marjorie Trader Greene, and my familiar has boycotted the reading by laying on the cards and saying, no, we're not doing this. Good kitty. Wise kitty. You know what you need to know, he says. You need good energy from the kitty. You need the positive energy generator. Yes, Stephanie Lily's so dramatic. All right, so what's going on here?
Donald Trump just now sitting down together at a federal courthouse in Brooklyn. We've just seen attorneys for the Trump team walk in. I want to show you the live picture of it. You can see who is outside. Both parties asked to be there by Judge Raymond Dearie, that special master or independent third party in the Mar-A-Lago investigation. And here's the focus, right? How the judge plans to move forward with the review that is now holding up parts of the federal investigation into the former president's handling of classified material. Again, you can see some demonstrators, if you will, outside the courthouse. We already know how both Mr. Trump's legal team and the DOJ want to move forward. That's because they both filed separate proposals overnight in their response to a draft plan given to them by Judge Dearie. A draft plan that already has Mr. Trump's legal team seeming concerned and pushing back against a request from the judge to back up the Trump team's claims that the former president declassified a lot of the information we're talking about here. Now, listen, the Trump team did not do that, right? Yet again. So here again, while the former president and his allies are saying publicly he declassified some of this stuff, his team is not saying that where it counts in court, not yet. But the former president's attorneys did tip their hand that they think an indictment could be coming against Mr. Trump in the Mar-a-Lago case, pointing out any evidence he declassified documents, if that evidence exists, could be used as a defense against future charges. We want to get right to it. We've got it covered from all angles this afternoon, including from outside the Brooklyn federal courthouse. NBC correspondent Vaughn Hilliard. We noted, Vaughn, the demonstrators who have showed up in Brooklyn behind you. Not surprisingly, I think, given the fact that it's Brooklyn, New York City, leans Democratic. They are anti-Trump demonstrators. I know you've also seen the arrival of some of the attorneys in just the last couple of minutes. Yes?
Yeah, I think we've actually got some of this video in which the trio of attorneys who are now representing Donald Trump, they arrived here just a few minutes ago, yelled at by several of the demonstrators here that are also in attendance. This is the Brooklyn Federal Courthouse. I mean, we're just about 10 minutes here from Manhattan. This is the first time in which Judge Dearie is going to be meeting with not only the DOJ, but also with Trump's attorneys here. The special master situation is moving forward, despite an appeal by the Department of Justice requesting the U.S. Appeals Court of the 11th Circuit in Atlanta to allow the Department of Justice to continue to work through its investigation, its criminal investigation of those more than 100 classified documents. At this moment in time, that stay has not been issued, and therefore the special master is meeting with both sides here today to not only determine a potential timeline, but also the way and the process in which these documents will be filtered through. Both sides issued written responses to a draft proposal from Judge Dearie over the weekend. Both sides have different timelines, as well as different methods in ways in which they believe that the judge should work through these documents. There's also important to note, we may find out here today, the timeline in which the judge intends to have this process completed by. He actually proposed as part of his initial draft plan an expedited process, which would be October 7th, to have these documents combed through and evaluated for not only the potential executive privilege or attorney-client privileges that Trump's attorneys are arguing, but also the extent to which the classification of these documents is in contention. It was over the course of this weekend in which Judge Dearie asked Trump's attorneys for information, evidence as to when Donald Trump, as he has contested, not in legal documents, but on his social media posts and in interviews, evidence of him declassifying the materials that were retrieved from Mar-a-Lago as part of that August 8th seizure. This is a situation in which the Trump attorneys, though, responded by saying that they were not inclined to provide such evidence, believing that in the situation he were to be criminally charged and indicted, that would be a key part of the evidence of his defense. At the same time, this hearing should potentially be able to tell us a lot about how this process would play out under the assumption that the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta does not issue a stay either today or in the coming days, Hallie.
Vaughn Hilliard live for us there in Brooklyn. I know you'll be keeping us posted on all developments to come this afternoon. I want to bring in now NBC News investigations correspondent Tom Winter, one of the tips of the spear on the reporting on this front, MSNBC legal analyst Lisa Rubin, and former chief of the counterintelligence and export control section in the DOJ's National Security Division, David Loffman. Tom, let me start with you and the reporting here. Vaughn has laid out what is set to happen and what has happened in the last couple of minutes and what will happen in the next hour or so. What else should we know? know? Give us that other context that is important here.
Right, Hallie. So a couple of different things. First off, a little bit of breaking news. There's actually a bit of an issue with the dial-in line that reporters and members of the public can listen to today's proceeding with the special master. Here, 2.5 years into the pandemic, it appears people still haven't figured out the mute function on their phones. So you can imagine the volume of people that have dialed into this. We've heard on hold music, very personal conversations, and what appears to be somebody cooking in the background. The court is aware of this, and their IT staff are trying to find a way to mute all the phones, with the exception of, obviously, the microphones coming from the courthouse. So we're going to be a little bit delayed here to start.
God bless you, Tom. God love you. But I don't know if that truly constitutes breaking news, because is it delaying the court proceeding itself, or is it just annoying and inconvenient for reporters trying to report on it?
No. We are delaying the court proceeding. I just got a note from John Marzulli, who's the spokesperson for the Eastern District of New York, kind of pitching in and helping us out here understand what's going on, even though it's not.
So
his
everybody's on hold.
We're all on hold for now, but apparently not all on mute. As far as how we expect this to go today, your timing of about an hour is typically how long we would expect it to last, though it's not clear what type of arguments Dearie is going to hear from the various attorneys. We're looking at the Trump attorneys now, as Vaughn referenced earlier, and also what type of debate might go back and forth. Of course, all of this could be upended by the person that the special master reports to. The special master, Judge Dearie, here is not acting on his own. Right. He's got to report to Judge Cannon in Florida. So does Judge Cannon at some point get a filing from Trump's attorneys as it pertains to the declassification issue and kind of intercede? A lot could be decided today, but some of those decisions could be changed or altered. It's just something that we're going to have to see. And all of this is ongoing while there's an issue before the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals addressing whether or not the special master issue is valid or not. And then, of course, whether or not federal prosecutors and investigators and the ODNI can resume their efforts to determine if there's been any sort of threat to national security and use these documents in their ongoing investigation. So, yes, on one hand, we might get a lot of decisions today, and we might get an understanding of how this moves forward, with the ultimate result being November 30th, when this review and any associated back and forth about what's privileged or not will wrap up. But some of these decisions that could come today from Judge Dearie could eventually be changed or altered entirely.
And to be clear, Tom, in roughly an hour or however long this procedure takes, for folks who are wondering what's the headline going to be, it will likely be related to the timeline, right? And some of the deadlines that are here, which will give us some insight on that front. Is that fair to say?
That's precisely correct. And just one thing to add to what Vaughn said. Yes, the judges proposed that the review be done by October 7th, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the entirety of this is done by then. The two sides can go back and forth on what they deem to be privileged or not privileged. So that process is expected to take a little bit longer. I think, it really is going to be probably the week after Thanksgiving before all this wraps up.
Tom Winter, I know you have more reporting to do and more muting of your own line to listen
Thank
to.
you guys for being here. And I am loving, I don't know why, I'm just finding this so funny.
Let me turn to you here.
I'm glad we're sharing this together.
He mentioned that date of October 7th, which was Judge Dearie's, in his draft, date for the initial review. The Trump team says that's too soon. In your professional opinion, is it?
I don't think so, but I think, Hallie, we have to presuppose that what the Trump team wants here is a genuine review by the special master. And I think there's reason to doubt that. The Trump team said all along that the reason they wanted the special master is so their client could make a motion called a Rule 41G motion for the return of his personal property. That's the reason that Judge Dearie asked them, can you tell us which documents your client declassified? Because if I'm supposed to prioritize the review of classified documents, if you tell me which ones he declassified, that will make my job easier and faster. And they refused. So I don't think their ultimate goal here is for a holistic and thorough review. I think their ultimate goal here is delay, and the special master was their vehicle for getting it.
David, Judge Dearie is somebody who was on the list of people who the Trump team wanted to see as this independent third party, this special master. Was there an expectation that perhaps he would be sympathetic to them? And do you think that has been borne out or no?
No, I think this is a case of be careful what you wish for. What they asked for and what they got was an extremely seasoned, experienced federal district court judge with specific expertise in national security matters. And he's going to take that responsibility extremely seriously. He's been asked to expedite the decision making with respect to classified documents. That appears to be exactly what he's doing by asking basic threshold questions of Mr. Trump's counsel as to whether, in fact, Mr. Trump declassified anything. It's a completely rational way to begin this process, and it may help him to expedite his disposition of that issue, because if all this stuff, as we know, is a fabrication with respect to declassification, then I think he'll give more deference to the government's representations, supported by a declaration by the FBI's Assistant Director for Counterintelligence, that these materials not only are classified, but are classified at the highest levels, top secret code word. And this judge, he's not going to be a rubber stamp for the government, but he's been around the block on national security matters, and I think he's likely to give the benefit of the doubt to the government.
This issue of declassification, Lisa, help us understand the relevance from the criminal perspective here, because the documents that we have seen so far related to the search warrant affidavit for the initial visit, if you will, the initial search of Mar-A-Lago, where many of these classified documents were found, of the potential statutes at play here, how important is it whether or not Donald Trump declassified these documents or not before he left office?
Oh, that's a great question, and one that David can probably shed some light on as well, given his former position, but I'll just tell you my take on it. It's important, but it's not the be-all, end-all, which is to say when the government unveiled their search warrant to the public and to the former president, as you noted, there are 3 statutes that were implicated. 2 of them don't have anything to do with whether or not the documents are classified or even relate to the national defense, but one does, and that's the Espionage Act, and whether it is unlawful to hold on to documents that implicate our national defense, either because they would disadvantage the United States or because they would so advantage another nation that it would be harmful for us. And in that respect, I do think there is some critical overlap between classified documents and documents that implicate the national defense. It's not entirely overlapping categories, but it's hard to see how something that could be that important to trigger the Espionage Act would not be classified in the first instance.
David, because Lisa brought you up, pointed to your expertise, I want to give you an opportunity to weigh in on that front.
Yeah, Lisa's right. I mean, the provision of the Espionage Act regarding willful retention has to do with retention of information relating to the national defense, or NDI. And while it's true that a prosecution could be brought for retention of unclassified documents if the documents fulfill the definition of the wide range of things described, like schematics, diagrams, it's rare for the government to charge a willful retention case under Section 793E unless they're classified. I authorized the first prosecution ever for documents that weren't classified, but they involved schematics of an aircraft carrier, satisfied the plain language of the statute, but that's going to be uncommon. So, it's improbable to me, as a matter of whether the government would exercise prosecutorial discretion, that they would charge Mr. Trump with violating 793E unless the documents were classified. Of course, as Lisa's indicated, there are ancillary charges, including obstruction, which is an aggravating factor in the government's decision about whether to charge willful retention. They're going to feature prominently in the government's decision-making.
Lisa, before I let you go, I have to ask about some of this reporting that an attorney for the former president basically warned him about what exposure he would have if he took these classified documents out of the White House. Sought to impress Eric Hirschman, as the New York Times is reporting, who is familiar to people from, of course, his art-filled depositions, if you will, tape testimony for the January 6th Select Committee, sought to impress upon Mr. Trump the seriousness of the issue and the potential for investigations and legal exposure if he did not return the documents, particularly any classified material, citing multiple sources, the New York Times is. How would that kind of prior knowledge on the part of Mr. Trump potentially shape the case here?
I think it's a further indicator of the willfulness of his conduct, right?
Okay.
If you've been warned by people who are aware that you have retained not only government records, but documents that could be classified, you haven't handed them back to the government, and you've been told that not doing so could put you in a world of legal trouble, continuing to do so and continuing to obfuscate for as long as former President Trump allegedly did That's further indication of the willfulness of his conduct. And to David's point, I really do think the sleeper hit here, so to speak, is Section 1519 of the U.S. Code. That's obstruction of an official government investigation. And we know that by concealing records from the government, both from the National Archives and from the FBI and the Department of Justice when they were asking, this whole supposed storage dispute has gone on a lot longer than anybody ever intended. And indeed, the government has been more than patient with the former president before going to the measures that they've gone to here. The conduct has been willful in the extreme, Hallie.
Lisa Rubin, David Loftman, thank you both very much for your perspective and your analysis. Thank you. President Joe Biden making a new push for a bill that targets dark money in campaigns, so to speak. He was speaking from the White House just within the last few minutes, calling on the Senate to pass something called the Disclose Act.
Republicans should join Democrats to pass a Disclosure Act and get it on my desk right away. Dark money has become so common in our politics. I believe sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Okay, so Kristen, thank you so much. Kristen's listening in, and I was trying to find that Twitter account because I can't click on a direct link when I'm in StreamYard. So I'm trying to find that. But in the meantime, Josh Gerstein, that's his name, Stein, is live tweeting from inside the courtroom. C-SPAN is not covering it. Kristen says, judge says speakers are free to take masks off. Edelstein speaks for the government, says the DOJ is ready to give documents to the vendor by tomorrow. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Trustee says they just got the lot of five. Asked for Friday to pick a vendor. Judge says let's do it tomorrow. Trustee? Is that the name of the Trump's lawyer? Judge says let's do it tomorrow. Okay, Semperis has that too. Just having a look at links in the Facebook chat. Thank you. Okay, so Josh Gernstein. Let's have a look here. What's going on? Okay, so I'm going to have to refresh this a lot if I'm going to follow this, but it's worth following. Remove that for now. They're not being helpful. Let's share Twitter. To lose my AirPod. Okay. Share. Kathy Delisle is saying Trustee is one of the lawyers for the Orange Fool. Okay. Yes, name of his lawyer. Really? Trustee with a Y? Because I thought so too. Gretchen. Trustee, like a trustee. All right, I'm going to have to refresh this. All right, Judge asks Brett about, okay, so in Brooklyn for the first appearance of the Trump lawyers and prosecutors, Judge says speakers are free to take their masks off. Asked for Friday to pick a vendor. Judge says let's do it tomorrow. Good. Judge asks Bratt what to do with classified documents if the 11th Circuit doesn't step in. Defers to Edelstein, who says the government will most likely consider other appellate options at this point. I think the only option is the Supreme Court. Okay. All right, that's how we're getting there. Well, I just don't have a way to broadcast this phone call. Click on show this thread. Ah, okay. Judge asking what his role would be. Are marked classified documents? How am I going to verify the classification? What business is it of the court? Dearie says, assuming Trump's side doesn't put forward evidence of declassification. Okay. Semper says the phone call is still inaudible. Oh, jeez. EI is pronounced I. Sorry. Lola Bell says, for what it's worth, Saturn is now conjunct Trump's Icarus. Whew, that'll bring you to the ground. That flying a little too close to the sun. Yikes. Tiffany Lynn says you have a Skype of a phone app. I could try that. Much of the press has been positioned in the jury box facing Trustee Halligan, Keiss, and Corcoran. Trustee jokes, we've already objected to this jury. Oh, that was an hour ago. Okay. Okay, DOJ team arrived. Okay. Judge says, I follow directions. I do what I'm told. We're going to proceed with what I call a responsible dispatch. Judge seems to brush back Trump team by saying that litigation strategy isn't going to affect resolution of recommendations to Cannon. Judge says if the inventory is in dispute, asked if the inventory is in dispute. Trustee says he's not sure, but why don't they all see the documents first? Uh-huh. Ruh-roh. All right, let's. Okay, that's about Fiona. All right, I'm gonna try something here. I find it ridiculous that nobody is covering this. Seriously. See if I can find Skype working on my computer. All right. Three, 5, 3. All right, I'm trying to call a number. Sorry about the technical issues. I'm getting a busy signal. All right, so that's not going to help. On MSNBC, they're talking about the Hurricane Fiona. Dr. Nancy says, just checking Midas. He's treading water. This is better. I know that feeling. Okay, so Kristen is helping out here. Oh, bless you. Hello, my friend.
Hello, dearie. How are you?
I'm better now that you're here.
Oh, hello, guys. Okay, so I've been all over the place. I'm trying to find. C-SPAN's not covering it, Janelle. I wish they were. That would make it so easier. But been in multi-level marketing hell, knows what kind of phone system calls that these are, where you've got hundreds of people calling in from the one number from all across the country, and only the owner of the call, which would be the courthouse, can mute everybody. But apparently they haven't figured out how to do it. So, anti-hoozle. I've checked PBS and I checked NPR. They're not covering. I don't know if they can get in. That's the problem. I mean, it's live technically. So,
Well, we do have this from Josh from just a few minutes ago. Judge is asking what his role would be in the marked classified documents.
Mm-hmm.
Trustee stands by position. They don't want right now to detail what may have been declassified or when. We're not in a position, nor should we be in a position at this juncture, to fully disclose a substantive defense. Trustee, it's not gamemanship. It's about not having seen the documents.
But trustee,
one of
the documents.
One of your lawyers is a registered agent of a foreign government who's not our bestest buddy. Michelle wants to know what the phone number is. I could give you I can put the link to the PDF or whatever it is in the chat. It's common, lots of people know it. Lisa Graham says it's Mercury retrograde on crack. Lord have mercy. Yeah. Nancy, Dr. Nancy says trustee. It's a role. That's what I thought.
No.
No, it's his name.
That's it. There's a dude named Trustee. There is a guy named Trustee.
There we go.
I guess Trump figured that would help him.
Central casting.
Yes. Oh, lordy.
Okay, so where's what's his name? It's Twitter again.
Mimi says it's way above your pay grade. So I'm not trusting. Yeah. Okay. This is way above Trustee's pay grade. Yes.
Teresa Ford says it's a first draft name.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, you are so right.
And somebody replied to this that Trump has had these documents for over a year. If he needed to see them that bad, he had them. What's the prop, Bob?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you see that tweet?
No.
Oh, it's an actual book, and it goes into that whole thread is amazing. It's an actual book about how Trump is the son of man.
What? Mm-hmm. You should read the reviews on Amazon. They're hilarious. Gross.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a cult.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Tracy said we should not be in a position to have to disclose declarations, witness statements. Dearie said, my view is you can't have your cake and eat it too. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Can I get an amen?
Wait, scroll back up real quick. Just a teach. That way, down, right, down underneath this guy, right there. That's, yeah, this is from the book. This is from the back of the book.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
During the presidency of President Donald Trump, it became evident to me. Hang on. During the presidency of President Donald Trump, Department of the Redundancy Department, it became evident to me that the prophecies about the Son of Man, as predicted by Jesus in the Bible, were, to a significant extent, fulfilled at the hands of Mr. Trump, his tiny, tiny little fist of fury. The Bible speaks about two different Christs or Messiahs. Jesus, the Son of God, is the one Christ, whereas the Son of Man is the other. Jesus always referred to the Son of Man in the third person. The greatest distinction or significance between the Son of Man and the Son of God, the Lamb, is their respective positions at the throne of God.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus spoke about two different killings in the four Gospels of the New Testament. People read these scriptures and are unaware that Jesus, the Son of God, predicted his own killing in the first person, as opposed to the several prophecies that he made in respect to the Son of Man who would be crucified. The two kings. Okay, we're done. We're done. We're done. That's
It's a bit much.
yeah. Although there's a part of me that wants to go look at the reviews.
Mm-hmm.
In cover news is saying trustees now railing against about the National Archives, calling it highly politicized. Talks about trigger warning disclaimer on National Archives website. What? Huh? Good grief. Oh, wow. Judges love when you use their time to rail against statues.
It's their favorite. Yes.
Those pesky deep state librarians. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Man, oh, day.
And today has been brought to you by Mercury in Retrograde. Yes. So we're sorry that the format has been flipped and scrambled and diced up and rotisserated and slung on a redneck hibachi like a waffle. It's just one of those days, y'all. It is one of those days.
Oh Simper says they finally muted the lines. Let's see if they can unmute just. Let's see if they can unmute just the court now.
It used to be like *813 or some once upon a time. It depends on what service provider they use. Holly Wanda says, how do cults end? I want to make a comment about bangs and whimpers, but it's more like with a bang and a demented yodel. I don't know.
All right, I'm going to try calling again over here.
Okay.
It's just ringing.
It's ringing. It's so busy.
And ringing and ringing and ringing.
You know who's ultimately going to have to pay for that? Because those service providers charge for people. You got
Hang
it?
on. Hang on. 6, 2, 0, 1, 9, 1, 2, 9, 4. Okay.
We can do it. We can do it.
I am muting myself though. Okay, there's nothing.
I know, because they figured out how to mute everybody, but they accidentally muted the people too.
Nothing. Oh, Taylor B says they muted everybody by kicking them out. Yeah. Oh, Tiffany Lilly says, why didn't they just use YouTube like everyone else? Exactly. Well, I guess that's that then.
Okay, now trustees asking about getting security clearance process started. Judge said he thought about that earlier, but adds it's not just a matter of having clearance. It's a matter of need to know. If you need to know, you will know. Yeah. So trustees not getting clearance. Yes, Taylor, everybody's shushed. Yeah, it's all they performed a group yeet.
A group
Yeet us, delete us, and everybody was done. Oh gosh.
All right, that's a bust. So Skype is a bust. I can try going back to the Twitter feed and have a look.
Kelly, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, please, no. You go ahead.
I was gonna say, Kelly, I don't think that's a threat. They were just complaining about the National Archives in general, and so they're just grasping at whatever straws they can get. And we're supposed to leave our stuff in the hands of people who are so sensitive. They have a trigger warning on their website. That's kind of where they're coming from. So, and that's because some of the stuff that they have, while some of the National Archives stuff that's available to the public, while not classified, is sensitive in other areas. I mean, it's an archive of stuff, and sometimes there's stuff there that's I mean, technically you can go on there and see like pictures after JFK got shot. It's not classified, but it's still sensitive. You don't want to see it. So that kind of stuff is what they have trigger warnings for.
All right. Marie Hansen says you got ghosted. Yes. Katie says, now I want to read one of Sarah's books with descriptions like that.
Oh, goodness.
Oh. Okay, this is just cute, because I'm just going to run it.
Молодец, водичку пьет. Тор, морду вытирай. Вытирай морду. Ой, какой умничка. Молодец. Вытер. Чистенький. Молодец.
That's very sweet. All right, trying to get over to C. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the trending topics here. Come on. Declassified, Team Trump. So Trump's lawyers refuse. No, that was yesterday. 5 hours, 8 hours. I would like to see
Trump's
the
legal
latest.
team is now telling Judge Dearie that the National Archives are, quote, highly politicized. They have no defense, so their only defense is to call their accusers politicized. Sorry, but these types of allegations don't hold water in court. Dearie tore Trump's defense apart. He asked Trump's lawyers why they wanted him appointed as the special master if they won't let him do his job by providing him evidence of declassification. As far as I'm concerned, that's the end of it, Dearie stated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what people are talking about here. Team Trump. Oh boy. Breaking. Oh no, 2 hours ago. Yeah, but it's true. Trump's legal team now acknowledges the possibility that Trump could be indicted for retaining government secrets at Mar-A-Lago. True. Absolutely true.
Aw. Why is Twitter recommending that I follow Pope Francis? I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll find out what's going on. Sorry, today kind of we did what we could. And Kristen from Uncover the News, you are,
bless you.
You are
the
MVP.
real MVP today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. So, Taylor B, they unmuted the courtroom. Okay, now I've got to try.
Snap, call back.
All right, hang on. I've got to. There we go. Go here. Oh, here we go. Try that.
Judge says he hopes he can resolve matter without seeing the classified documents if possible. Edelstein emphasizes that some on prosecution team don't have the necessary clearances. Trustee, it's kind of astounding to hear the government say the president's lawyers don't have a need to know. It's because they don't have a need to know.
The number is invalid. Suddenly, it was ringing, and now it says it's invalid.
It's crashed.
Yeah. Or they've just given up. They just shut the system down.
Yeah.
Trying to click.
Whoever owns the call, which starts the call or whatever, you rent space, and so you pay per X amount of people.
Really?
So this is all tied up in court costs. Well, yeah, this is all tied up in court costs. So who's paying for this?
The court.
And who's going to have to pay for it? Eventually,
court.
Who's going to reimburse the court?
Oh.
And it's court costs. So who's going to have to pay court costs?
Oh, talk about insult to injury. At 1:30, 2:30. Kathy Rollins is saying Trump has to pay. Semper says they're wrapping up now. Good. I've got a fool card for the reading. Sun, Eight of Swords, Six of Pentacles. I think Trump is going to have to pay some money for this. Oh, I don't, but Sandy Miller, it says it crashed, so the server should foot the bill. No, honestly, I don't think that's how, I don't know that it crashed. It may just be that they said, you know what, shut it down. Because this is a card of having to give a little bit here. So I think Trump is going to have to pay for some of this. He was already arguing that the government should pay for a special master, and the judge was saying no, or rather the DOJ was saying no. You're the one requesting it. So we just squeeze box is saying Trump's debit card maxed out. Exactly.
Oh goodness.
Exactly. Semper says it didn't crash. I was on the whole time. Oh, cool. I'm glad that worked out for you. Well, it was a bust on this end, but we got with all of you, wonderful Semperis and Kristen and everybody who was helping out. Really appreciate it. We'll have to figure out what's going on, and we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Never a bad night here on the Black and Orange.
No. It's 1:46 p.m. here, Central Time Zone, Chicago time, Louisiana time. We're in the same. We live a long way away from each other, but we're in the same time zone. Yeah. I will definitely be back tomorrow, and at 4 o'clock we'll both be on the. Are you going to be there today? On the Creative Sprints channel to do creative work, and just try to decompress from this. All right, hang in there, everybody. Thank you for being here, and don't forget, you are not alone. We are in this mess together. Yes, we are.
I always mess it up. There we go.
We're all in this together. All right. And there are good days ahead. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kay, Fran, everybody. Thank you. All right. In that case, I will see you all today at 4 o'clock on Creative Sprints. Or I'll see you right back here. Same boo-boo time, same boo-boo channel tomorrow. Take care.